tonight's meeting of the Board of Appeals of the Town of Duxbury. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, this hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, which was formerly known as PAC TV. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access Channels, Verizon 39 or Comcast 9. Viewers can visit the local scene media /Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. All right, we have a couple of matters on this evening. The first of which is Brookhaven Farm, ZBA case number 2024-16. And I will read the public hearing notice. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mural Room, 878 Tremont Street, and via Zoom tonight to consider the application of Brookhaven Farm, Garen Hillo, for a special permit under Articles 400, 600, and 900, Sections 410, 601, 601.1, 601.2, 601.3, 601.4, 601.6, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw. The property is located at 1405 Tremont Street, parcel number 104-005-002 of the Duxbury Assessor's Map, consisting of 2.59 acres in the Residential Compatibility District and owned by Garen Hillo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that happened on a meeting the other night I was on.
What was that?
All right.
Don't bring kids to this, I guess.
Holy crap.
All right, I'm going to describe that as a technological problem.
Right.
And we said we were going to persist in the face of those.
Yep.
So let's keep going. The applicant proposes to construct a freestanding sign. A special permit is required. The application could be viewed at the town's website under the ZBA page or at the Municipal Services Department. Those folks who were differently abled, we were going to make accommodation for. All right. We have an application. A photograph of the proposed farm sign, and a site plan as to where the sign would be located. Lauren, I do not, however, have the submissions from the other boards.
Sure. So there's a memo from the Board of Health dated September 5th, 2024 that states the Board of Health has no comments on the application to install a sign. A memo from the Planning Board dated September 25th that states at a meeting of the Planning Board on September 23rd, 2024, the board voted unanimously 4-0 to defer judgment on the special permit application for 1405 Tremont Street to the Zoning Board of Appeals with no further comments. And a memo from the Design Review Board dated October 7th, 2024 that states the applicant proposes to install a freestanding sign to identify a farm and future farm stand on the property. Garen Hillo met with the Design Review Board on 9/18 to discuss the proposal. He stated the sign will be positioned perpendicular to the road and will not have any lighting. The Design Review Board had no objections. And that's it.
All right. Did we get any submissions from other persons?
We did not.
All right, so here's how the hearing will run. We'll first hear from the applicant. The applicant will make whatever presentation they choose to make. The board may very well ask questions. At the conclusion of that, we will open it up for public comment and let other folk say their piece. If you choose to speak, I ask that you do so from the microphone, and that before you, when you start speaking, you identify yourself and where you live. So why don't we hear from the applicant?
My name is Katie Hillo, and I live at 1405 Tremont Street. I am the wife of Garen Hillo.
Okay, do you want to describe the application?
I don't have many details because my husband is in charge of this, and he's now in California, but we would like to hang this sign in front of our property. When we bought it, it was named Brookhaven Farm, and we really liked it, and we really like our sign.
Okay. Jim, did you take a look at it? Does it comply with the dimensional requirements?
Yes, it does.
Board have questions? Anybody else have a comment?
Thanks.
Wayne, I had one question. This is Boris.
Great.
She said it was a farm or it's currently a farm? The applicant?
The name of the farm, Brookhaven Farm, was named that when we bought the property. I don't know if it was a working farm. I think it was more of a horse farm at the time.
And
So it's not a farm now?
No, but we hope to have a farm stand in the future.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
any other questions? All right. Didn't hear anybody from the general public. Anybody from the wall? Other than the person who intruded earlier. Okay. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second, all in favor? Aye, Wayne.
Aye, Judy.
Hi, Freeman.
Hi, Boris.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the application for a special permit as submitted.
Second, any discussion? All right, let's take a vote. Aye, Wayne.
Aye, Judy.
Hi, Freeman.
Hi, Boris.
It's approved.
Thanks, guys.
Great job.
Okay. We have another item on.
Yep.
So now we are down to 4 participants, and this is a special permit request.
I'm good on this one.
You can do this one. When we only have 4 people, you can go forward, but you would need a unanimous vote for the special permit. Or you could choose to defer and wait till you get 5 people. But that's up to the applicant. Okay, so I'll read that. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing in the Mural Room tonight to consider the application of Off-Leaf Excursions, Meredith McGinnis, care of the law firm, for a special permit under Articles 400 and 900, Sections 402, 404, 406, 410, 410.3.2, 410.7.1, 430, and 906.2 of the Duxbury Protective Bylaw The property is located at 454 Franklin Street, parcel number 039-018-071 of the Duxbury Assessor's Map, consisting of 12.83 acres in the Residential Compatibility District, Flood Hazard Overlay District, Wetlands Protection Overlay District, Aquifer Protection Overlay District, and Planned District 2, and owned by John and Meredith McGinnis. The applicant proposes to operate an in-home dog training facility within a 1.8-story heated garage and designated fenced-in exercise yard. A special permit is required. The application can be viewed at the town's website, and folks who are differently abled, we would make accommodation for. All right. We have an application that has been submitted, including a letter from
Yeah.
Mr. Udy's law firm and a memorandum in support of the application, which I will, I guess we'll defer to council and let them summarize. We have a site plan. We have a series of photographs and tax maps, all of which depict the locus at which they propose to put this dog facility. We have a letter from Nancy Lyon Sharp at 465 Franklin expressing support for the application. There's another letter of endorsement from Will Burkhardt of 224 St. George Street. A letter expressing strong support from Shane and Kelsey Early of 213 Bianco Road. A letter in support from Sharon Pisani from 10 Boxwood Lane. An email letter from Nicole McChrystal from 2 Ingalls Grove, again in support. A supporting letter from Nancy Fitzsimmons of 26 Carriage Lane. A letter from the McNeil family at 106 Duck Hill Road, again in support. The full and heartfelt support of Ellen Nolan from 42 Hounds Ditch. Support from Dee Dee Allen of 661 Washington Street. And support from Dwight Shepherd, 23 Carriage Lane, and Lucy Shepherd. We have a memo where the planning board chose to defer judgment to us with no further comments. We have a letter from the applicant describing what they propose to do and asking whether the person to whom it was directed would support the home occupation special permit. The person who responded affirmatively is Patrick Murtaugh of 485 Franklin Street. The same letter was directed and responded to by Aaron Kelly at 460 Franklin Street. And that's again true of Michael Gunderson of 505 Franklin Street, Laura Mindich of 452 Franklin Street, the Cusick family of 477 Franklin Street, Aaron, whose name I'm about to butcher, Paciocco of 439 Franklin Street. a memo from the Design Review Board. They discussed the petitioner's request. The applicant was present at the meeting and stated she has no plans for physical upgrades to the facility, which currently consists of a heated garage and fenced-in exercise yard for the dog training facilities. Overall, the board believes a special permit would benefit the town and has no objection. Accordingly, they recommend. And then we have an email from Laura on behalf of the Board of Health. The Board of Health requires the applicant to obtain a commercial kennel license before opening the business. The license includes an annual inspection and describes some of the requirements of the general laws that pertain. Additionally, the on-site dumpster requires an annual permit, which must be filed with the Board of Health. We got anything else? Okay. Again, what we'll do is first hear from the applicant or the applicant's counsel. The board will ask any questions they have. Once the board is satisfied, or at least reasonably satisfied, we'll open up for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Attorney Gregory Fleming. I'm here with the applicant, Meredith McGinnis. As you've seen from the numerous filings, here we are looking for a home occupation special permit. Property itself is a little under 13 acres, with the main portion being 3.6 acres. It currently has a single-family dwelling, detached garage, an accessory structure, and a barn. The barn is really what we're talking about here. Previously, this was a commercial property. I believe the prior owner had a, I'll call it landscaping, kind of moving of gravel and other materials, loam and such. This barn was used mainly for that purpose with commercial vehicles. There's an office in there. The applicant seeks to convert this barn, loosely termed, to now be for dog training and exercise and such. Attached is a fenced-in area to this barn, and this is the area that will be used for these purposes in just this area. As they're already constructed and have been on the property prior to my client's purchase, there's going to be no new buildings being built here. We're just looking to use the building itself, the barn that is already in place for this purpose of dog training and facility. One of the unique things about this is that the dogs are brought on and off property each day. They're not kept overnight. And that is done by my client. The people who are using the facility do not bring the dogs to the property. My client has a van transportation that will go around to each client's location, pick up the dog, and bring it back. So we're not talking about an increase of traffic or such to the area. Essentially, it's going to be quiet as normal. More so, the barn location is close, and the property is laid out. If you have the maps in front of you, it's close to Route 3. So we're not next to a butters. We're not worried about, dogs being, a disturbance to the neighbors. That shouldn't be an issue here. Again, Route 3 is loud enough as is. I don't think the dogs will be any more of an issue to that. Obviously, this area is in several different districts. Many are on the property itself, but not in the upland area where the barn is located. But obviously, in our memo, we go through each of the districts and why we feel as though this special permit is allowable by this board and should be granted by this board. Belabor the point with those. It's very straightforward in the aspect that we're not building anything new. We're just taking a commercial use that was already grandfathered in for the property and looking to change, to this use for the dog training facility. Other than that, we feel as though that's pretty much the gist of it. Obviously, you've seen many letters of support from the neighbors. We're not aware of any letters in opposition. Obviously, we don't know everyone, but we feel as though this is a project that will be beneficial to the community and it's something that the community wants and clearly is in support of. The applicant and I are here to answer any questions that the board may have, or anyone from the audience or online.
I have a question, since you brought it up.
Yes,
Was the prior use actually grandfathered,
that's,
or was it just there? Was it a lawfully pre-existing non-conforming use, or was it just there?
our understanding, it was lawfully pre-existing, non-conforming. That was before the zoning bylaw went into effect.
Went that far back?
Yeah,
Wow,
that's our understanding.
okay. I'm not questioning you, I'm just,
It's a pretty thick folder.
really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. The previous, there was a lot of enforcement issues with the previous owner of the property with
Okay.
this one.
I don't have any more questions about it.
Never mind.
All right,
No,
fine.
excuse me,
fine. I won't go
no,
there.
speaking out of, no, not this one.
Okay.
There's a few different parcels down there that he.
Okay.
All right. So my questions are all around the permitted use designations in a couple of the various districts that pertain to this property. And specifically the designations of permitted uses under 402 and 404. And I understand that you probably tick those off. And can you just walk me through the manner in which this is a permitted use under 402 and 404?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman, just let me get to my notes here. So if I'm on the same page as you, Mr. Chairman, so we're talking about the Wetlands Protection District, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And are we talking about the aquifer as well, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
So, well, two things with regards to that. One, those districts are on the property, but not where this barn is located.
Okay, that helps.
I understood. So with regards to those, obviously there are restrictions, with both of these districts that the bylaw provides that, may be used for any purpose otherwise permitted by the underlying district, subject to certain restrictions. With regards to the, aquifer protection, the board must consider the proposed use for the consideration to cumulative impact on the municipal water supplies, including consideration for nitrate and nitrogen loading in the aquifer protection overlay district. As we lay out as well, that with regards to any cleaning will be done by a professional cleaning company. Any waste is going to be put in a dumpster and removed. Obviously, the Board of Health has noted that permit is needed for those dumpsters, and we're obviously more than happy to comply with any requirements that any board, including this one, requires for those. So we don't feel there's no negative impact on either the watershed or the aquifer due to all of the mitigation aspects that the applicant is taking with regards to this project.
I'm trying to find a diagram that reflects where this portion of the property is compared to where the overlay districts are, and I just have a very small map.
And you want the big picture?
That would be great.
That would be great.
Can Laura put it on the screen maybe, or?
We were a little scary about the screen.
No, I mean, no, we don't need Zoom, but she can put the map.
Right.
Oh, okay. But can't you open the file? Believe me, don't want to.
Okay.
I mean, if there's no construction happening on this site, right? There's no additional cover, impervious cover,
Right.
That's correct.
right?
Yeah, okay.
This is really just a change in use in a way. That's really what you're asking for.
That is correct.
But if it's a
Or
change
new
of
use.
use, then the previous use would have to be grandfathered.
I'm saying the effect of this is a change in use. She is simply requesting a special permit to conduct a home occupation, because that's what we require in this town, but she's using it as a residence
Correct.
with a
Yeah.
home occupation. So my question about the change of use was, it was just to explain the impact, if you will, of the difference.
It appears to me that all of the areas that seem to have some limitation on permitted uses are
Yeah.
to the north of,
Yeah, there's definitely constraints on the other side of that property.
right, that are to the north of the area that
Yeah.
is going to be used.
Can I ask a few
Yeah, we're
questions?
not in the APOD or the WPOD, right?
Not the portion that they're using.
Yep.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, that's a question.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your experience with this kind of business and like how many dogs there would be there at any given time and so forth? I just want to understand more.
Yeah,
As one who has
absolutely.
3 dogs that I love.
Oh, that's great.
Your name for the record.
Sure. My name is Meredith Stores. Thank you all so much for being here and giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about off-leash excursions. So, just to give you a little bit of background, I started off-leash excursions about 10 years ago after I graduated college. I was living in the North End at the time, and I went around and I picked up dogs and I put them in my car, and I would drive them out of the city, and they were able to run around and go hiking and swim. So it was a very kind of nice niche, I guess, I kind of carved out for myself with the dogs. And so really my formal training started probably 6 years ago through various shadow programs and mentoring with other trainers. I also go to many seminars, and I'm always kind of continuing my education. So yes, I've been working with dogs for over 10 years. Really what we try to focus on here is just really being good stewards of the trails that we are so lucky to have around town. Really working on things like how to do polite greetings, take your dog responsibly into public, that type of thing. So really what we're doing kind of with our sort of day training program is we bring dogs onto the property. We do training with them throughout the day. So we work on things like impulse control, basic obedience, proper socialization, and then they are transported off of the property and they go hiking, which to me is very, very important. It is a very kind of, that's the most biologically fulfilling thing for a dog, is to be outside. So the dogs are really getting a lot of enrichment, a lot of stimulation during the day. They are not kind of idly barking or being bored. It's very much a intensive program. And then they all are transported home at around 2:30 in the afternoon. So I get that a lot about husbands and things like that. So
My smirking while you were talking wasn't that I was making fun of you, it was that I was picturing one of my dogs in particular being a really bad student. I was just like thinking of my by Archie.
Are the dogs contained either within the building or the yard behind it only? They're,
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
just kind of curious. I mean, it says off-leash excursions, but then they're on leashes or contained.
No, so the dogs, we kind of, I developed this all-day program that we do with them. So much of the day is spent inside of the barn, but then we also transport them off of the property so that they do have the opportunity to be off leash and go swimming, hiking, that type of thing.
Okay. Do you have the support of the neighbors to your west, between you and the river?
Between us and the river, yes. Their letters of support are in, should be in the packet.
Okay. I think that's all I had.
Anybody else got questions? What?
This
Why
is
don't we
Boris.
hear
I
from the
do-
public, and if you'd like to speak, just come up to the microphone and talk after identifying yourself and where you live.
Cesar Guevara, 492 Franklin Street. Some of you know me already. It's not my first rodeo here. I live next to the kennel in Franklin Street. So I was here before because the noise is unbearable. So my fear is now that we live in a residential area and we starting to grandfather all these businesses. Technically, you can grandfather me to start a business because my house was part of the kennel at some point in the Duxbury life. So if we're gonna start doing businesses in Duxbury, we need to do something about my taxes. Because every time my house depreciates because I have a kennel on one side and a kennel on the other side, my value goes down. If the town is willing to lower my taxes every time my value goes down, I'm all for it. I love dogs. I'm a dog lover. I got 3 in my house. So I'm all for the entrepreneur business starting, but I like peace in my house too. So
Where do you live in relation to this property?
492 Franklin. So if you're going towards the fire station on the corner,
Yeah.
so their house is closer to Route 3. Mine is a little bit farther than Route 3. I don't hear Route 3, I hear dogs.
So you're next door,
I can picture.
Yeah, I'm next door to.
between the kennel,
I'm
you're
between them.
between.
Yeah, I'm between the two of
Okay.
them.
Which side of the river, though?
So if you're looking at Route 3
Yeah,
from the fire department, I'm in the other side. I'm towards the fire department,
okay.
side of the river.
On the other side of the river. Okay.
I'm between the kennel. I don't know if you know the Brussels.
No.
Yeah,
Yes, they just sold.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they
okay.
just sold their house, yes.
You live next to the Prozels?
Yes.
Okay. And you can hear the dogs in this facility?
And not in their facility. I don't know if
Okay.
they started their business or not, but.
Picture right where he is.
But there is a kennel on the other side of you
Yeah,
that you
remember
can...
that?
Duxbury Kennel.
that
Yeah.
Duxbury Kennel, remember
here.
we were here
I
for the
do.
same reason,
And-
you know, and that they were grandfather because there was a business there, and it turned into this big doggy daycare, and they asked for extensions, and it was all granted because of the grandfather
Are they
law.
still there and functioning?
Are they still there
They're
and barking?
They're
Okay.
operating under a variance, actually, an old variance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still
I remember
barking?
going
Oh,
through
they
all
still,
that.
I mean, there was a deal that you guys worked out that, oh, for certain hours, you can only. Oh,
Be
no, they are-
outside?
they are outside all day long,
And you're concerned that,
6 to 6.
and you're concerned that what she's doing is gonna potentially be a nuisance for you?
And then, I mean, I understand that there was a business that existed there. I mean, it was, but that business didn't bark. You know, there was a guy that had a truck that drove,
Yep.
mulch.
He did bark once in a while on the job.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Ellen Nolan. I live on 42 Houndsditch Lane. I did write a letter already in support of Meredith, and I am a participant in her program. My dog absolutely loves going there. It is very professionally run. It's very structured. He gets picked up. The day is scheduled. They go hiking, they do training, they have nap time. He's not sitting in a kennel or a crate. He's always supervised. He's happy. He runs out the door. He's tired when he comes home. He's so much better behaved. He's only 2. And Meredith is awesome. She's professional, she's thoughtful, she's caring. I don't know if you know, but she grew up here. She came back to raise her family, has brought this business, which I think is much needed. So I just wanted to be here today to say this is a very thoughtful, well-run business, and I just support her 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we hear from the applicant for just a second? So is this business already operating?
That kind of sounds like it.
Yes, we are already operating, and we are just looking to legalize the use.
How
has
long?
it been in operation?
2.5 years.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe the prior gentleman who spoke, and we understand, I believe he was mainly referencing the kennel at 500 Franklin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're familiar with it.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
we're very
That one
aware.
we understand. So there was another person who wanted to speak. Yep. Okay.
A little shorter. Nicole McChrystal at 2 Ingalls Grove also wrote a letter of support. There's a big difference in off-leash excursions as compared to a kennel. These dogs are exercised the entire day. Their well-being and mental stimulation is of utmost importance. They're not sitting in a crate. They're not being restricted in any way where they are going to be barking for attention. They have constant attention. They have constant training, and their happiness and well-being is of the utmost importance to every member of Meredith's crew. I've met several of the drivers, several of the trainers. Every single one of them has the well-being of the animal as their utmost priority. I can't imagine there being a lot of noise when I've seen videos of my dog playing. There's no barking because they're chasing each other around. They're on trails. There's no need to bark because they don't need to get the attention of anybody. They're being attended to. So I think that off-leash excursions has been an incredible benefit to the Duxbury community and to our pets.
Okay.
What is the ratio of trainers to dogs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one thing that I do want to point out is that there is never kind of an unmanageable amount of dogs on property at any one time, just because, again, the schedule of the day, we're constantly moving them around. But generally, it is about between 8 to 10 dogs to one person.
Do the dogs ever bark?
I am not going to stand up here and tell you that there's no barking ever. That being said, and I do not mean to disparage any other types of businesses in town, but I do understand that the kennel is incredibly loud. That would never happen at our facility. I would also like to note that the dogs are really only there from 9:30 in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon. So there's no kind of this constant barking, which I am also, I can always hear as well. So I certainly understand your concerns, and we are sort of looking to be stewards of the pet care industry, and really trying to raise the standard of care to one that's enrichment-based, training-based, fulfillment-based for the dogs, which I think is kind of where the industry is headed.
Do you picture this ever growing into a boarding type operation as well, or?
I do not, no.
Okay.
I think it's a different kind of business.
Or
It's a
would you-
different business model, definitely.
Or would you extend the hours beyond the 9:30 to 2:30?
Not at this time.
Would you agree to those hours that we write down?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Was there someone else who would like to speak?
My name is Nancy Fitzsimmons, and I also wrote a letter in support. And my dog is a 3.5-year-old rescue, and had some reactive issues as part border collie, part lab. The border collie part was always pretty reactive. I used to take him to Southpaws up in Pembroke, which was horrible. As much as many of the trainers there tried to do a good job with the dogs, that is not a natural thing for a lane that is maybe 20 feet by 50 feet, and to have 15, 20, 30 dogs just circling, an opportunity to go out to a fenced-in area. But it was not a natural place, and the dogs were either chasing and running and barking, or they were scared to death and hated being there. It was a horrible experience for my dog, and I was grateful to find Off Leash. And I can say, too, that the videos that we get, little snapshot videos and pictures, I mean, imagine 15 dogs that don't live together and don't know each other, sitting one next to the other, next to the other, next to the other, next to the other, while they take a video and a picture of them. That's how well behaved these dogs are, because that's how well trained they are, and they're out wherever they're out on a trail. They're having such a great time, and they listen to their trainers, and my dog is much better trained and much better with reactivity and much happier. He's snoring, I'm sure, right now at home because he was there today. And I empathize also with you, sir, with having to have the noise that you have on the other side, but this is actually a business that should be modeled by other people and allowed to flourish and do what they do with the animals, because they're doing it the right way. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should we consider some enforcement actions on the other one if it's that bad, or?
I would suggest you file a complaint.
Oh, Boris.
File a complaint. I mean, this is, not that I haven't heard about this kennel before, but if we don't know about it, we don't drive around with our ears listening to this stuff. We're concentrating on buildings, but zoning is an important part, and if they're not living up to the rules that it is, then file a complaint with the building department, and we'll go out and investigate it. I mean, our enforcement arm is as long as it is, but we still do react to it. And if we don't know about it, we can't act.
I'm sure you've seen a pile of complaints.
I had a verbal one about 4 years ago. That was the last one, but it wasn't, no one filed.
It was all calls to the police, right?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else like to weigh in here? Does the board have any further questions?
I don't.
Wayne, this is Boris. How are you?
Okay, go for it, Boris.
Please, I'm a little concerned about the off-leash part. Where are the dogs walking? Out when they're away, when they're loaded up and carted away?
Sure.
And are they-
Sorry, go ahead.
Please.
Oh, sure. So we take them to various trails in Duxbury, Pembroke, Marshfield, and you may know that Duxbury has not a leash law, but voice control law, which is something that obviously we take very seriously. But we do allow their leashes to drag for some of them, just in case we do come across somebody who maybe doesn't want to meet this gaggle of dogs or a horse or whatever other surprises we may come across on the trail. But that is something that is very important to me, and it's actually kind of why I got into training, was because we are so lucky to have all of these beautiful trails and open space. As dog owners, it's really important that we make sure that we're using the trails appropriately and responsibly, because it is a privilege and not a right, and that's something that I definitely think about all the time.
And just another question, are these dogs licensed and permitted to be walking in these areas?
Yes, that's correct.
In all the different towns?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
So one dog has a license for 3 different towns, maybe?
So Duxbury does have a dog walking permit requirement. That is correct. Pembroke, as far as I understand, Pembroke and Marshfield do not, meaning that we can take them on those trails without any type of permit or license.
And are you bringing Pembroke dogs into Duxbury? That was just more my concern.
No, we
Where
are.
your customers?
We primarily service clients in Duxbury, and then we also have some from the surrounding towns on the South Shore.
So when you're walking on Duxbury trails, those dogs are licensed and permitted to be allowed to do so?
That is correct.
Okay. Have you had, are you familiar with Eddie Ramos, our animal control officer?
I am very familiar with Eddie. We are very lucky to have him.
Okay, is he on board with this?
As far as I know, yes. I would also like to point out that we have never had any calls to animal control for any type of barking or any other type of behavior. So again, I think that just goes back to really stressing the importance for that responsible dog walking on the trails, and really prioritizing the training portion of the day to make sure that the dogs are coming when they're called, etc.
And you're cleaning up after these dogs, should they make a mess in the trail?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, if it's not in Eddie's radar, I'm okay with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Board have any other questions?
I don't.
Somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second. All in favor? Aye, Wayne.
Aye, Judy.
I am.
Hi, Freeman.
Hi, Boris.
Any discussion?
I have a discussion aspect that I'm curious about here, if it could be written in the decision. And it kind of piggybacks on the other use. When these things are grandfathered in, they become a nuisance later on in life when the current steward of the property leaves and somebody else wants to accept that use. I mean, this is such a unique, awesome, boutique kind of a way to approach this. I just get concerned about the possibility of this transferring someone that doesn't have the same passion. At some point, you move on or whatever. How do we handle that situation? That's my question.
We can always put the special permit to be specifically for this applicant.
A non-transferable.
Subject to a renewal by the board if there's a transfer of the property.
Perfect.
Or transfer of the business. I mean,
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that.
That makes sense.
Or we should limit it to the hours that she's
Yes, we-
indicated she's using it, right?
Yes, yeah, I mean, she had agreed to that condition.
And although I'm not overly thrilled with the notion that we've already been operating a business for 2.5 years in a manner without permits, the notion that it's been operating and hasn't seemed to cause any real problem is kind of a helpful fact for me. All right. I'm going to move to approve the special permit requested with the limitation that it is limited to this applicant and the hours are limited to 9:30 to 2:30.
I would second that.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, aye, Wayne?
IG.
I am.
Hi, Freeman.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sir, you should contact the building department about the problem you're having. We understand. We do.
Yeah. In Situate, there's private counsel writes.
As much detail as you can. I mean, I've been through that folder.
My firm to write the decision for your review and approval.
Why not?
Sure.
Have at it.
Absolutely, go for it.
Yeah.
That saves us one process. Thank you very much.
So we heard Boris again. Does that mean that?
He was on the phone, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
He must, I don't know how he was,
I don't know either.
he was a participant.
That's happened to us in Situate.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up the other thing.
I don't know how,
IT person's quick on the trigger to knock them out. They just hack in and they are able to just manipulate the volume and just put what they want up until you can.
crazy.
This just happened to me on a meeting the other night with another town.
Well, people have nothing better to do than that.
I know.
That was whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Sort of a hate crime too when they use those words, right?
What?
When they
course
use
it
those
is.
words, it's a hate crime.
Of course it is.
Yes, it is. Right. We have a request. Can I just tap you for 2 minutes?
Sure.
I know you want to go home and so.
No, I'm just standing up.
Oh, you're entitled. We got a request today from the developer of Harlow Brook, asking us to sign off on the agreement from Mass Housing. And I said to Lauren, we don't sign those. The effect of our signature on that is that we are subordinating our permit to the regulatory agreement with Mass Housing. And we don't need to do that. They already know it. In their letter, they acknowledge that if we just decline to sign it, just to let them know. So I'm just telling you what my thought is. Like, I think we should just say,
So we never do it.
I don't believe we have. I may have signed one for Island Creek before I understood.
So there's our answer right there.
Yeah, I just really, we shouldn't do it. We don't need to.
I'm full on no.
Yeah, just let them know. Thanks, but no thanks.
I signed 38 pages of it the other day. The plan. I know.
Yeah,
No,
that's
right.
different, yeah.
What about, do we have any minutes?
We don't have any minutes. We're all done.
All right, I'm going to move to adjourn.
I think that's fine,
Second.
All in favor?
because I want to
Aye.
ask you a
Aye.
question before you.
Aye.
Night, Boris.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.